Hey guys, and welcome back to another week of Casual Chaos. I have one of my Bravo family members here, Scheana Shay. Welcome to Casual Chaos.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm so excited for you to be here. I guess we'll get right into it. Well, you just came out with a memoir
hmm
called My Good Side, and you are already on the New York Times bestseller. Congratulations. That's
Thank you
insane.
so much. No, so exciting. It just is amazing. Yeah.
You opened up a lot during this memoir, and I feel like people are always interested about what we share, especially on reality TV, but there is so much more that you can also keep personal and not share. So this was kind of your outlet to do that. Were you surprised on the positive feedback that all of the viewers were giving you and how many people resonated with your stories?
I feel like that's what I love about doing reality TV is because we are able to be ourselves and put ourselves out there and show that we're going through the same life experiences that everyone else is. You know, there's so many relatable topics in my book between motherhood and postpartum mental health and like everything in between. I really just go into all of it. I'm such an open book. And I didn't really hold back with this book. I'm sure I could have said more details about certain things, but yeah, just overall, I was so excited to write a book to add more context to the stories that people have seen on television and think they know everything. I'm like, when people come up to you, and they're like, oh my God, I feel like I know you. Now
That
you
is,
can say
I,
that.
yeah, no, I think that's the number one line. I've watched you grow up. I know, I feel like I know you. And
Yeah.
it's like kind of weird, but I guess it's also nice that our fans can connect with us so much.
hmm
But then there's also so much more to our lives that you wish that people could really see. And we also weren't always able to show that on reality TV.
And that's the thing. It's like you're getting an edited, produced version of an entire event. And so, writing this book, I was like, now we can give more context. We can talk about why I said that, why I acted this way, what I was going through, what my actual internal dialogue was outside of the interviews. So, I really loved that I had this opportunity to just put it all out there in my words under my editing. The only other person editing is the copy editor. So that was great.
So is that how writing this book was so different? Because now you feel like you were able to just lay everything out on the table in black and white and just on your own terms?
Yeah, I felt like I finally had an opportunity to just tell the entire story. And being on reality TV for so long, so many of these stories have been told, but there's just always more to it. And that's what I've always said. It's like if you watch the show and you don't like me, you think I'm annoying or whatever, that okay, sure. But if you say like, "Oh, well, I don't like her from Vanderpump Rules." I'm like, "Well, you don't know me." So listen to the book, read the book, and then if you still don't like me for all of me, that's okay. I didn't write this book to be more liked. I wrote it to be more understood because I feel like after, gosh, I've been on TV for 11, 12 seasons, 13 years. It's like there's just so much that you haven't seen, and I still had so much story to tell. So hopefully that continues in the reality TV realm, but I just wanted to have it all out with my own control under my agency with, just putting everything out there and hoping it resonated with people, which I think it has.
No, definitely. And you've mentioned some really big names that I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I want you to tell me about it. So you mentioned John Mayer, Eddie Cibrian, am I saying his name?
Cibrian. It doesn't
Cibrian,
matter. He's
and
irrelevant.
Jesse Metcalf, and even the Jonas Brothers. But I
hmm
know for the Jonas Brothers, you were the pizza girl during
Yeah.
their show on Disney. Was it on Disney? Yeah, it had to have been.
Yes. Did you watch that when you were a kid?
Well, I was a huge Camp Rock girl.
Yeah.
And so then when they then got their own show, I was like, this is every little girl's dream. I'm like, this is
Yeah.
amazing. And they were so cute. So that was my childhood, like Camp Rock, Big Time Rush, Hannah Montana.
Oh,
Loved
totally.
all of that.
Yeah, my sister, she just turned 28, but that was like her childhood too.
Oh,
So
yeah.
for me, I was definitely a little too old to be watching those things, but having a little sister, I was obsessed with Hannah Montana.
Yeah.
I recently showed Summer Hannah Montana the movie and she loved it. I'm like, now we get to go back and watch the entire show.
Wait, and I think about this all the time. I'm like, and you probably think it's so crazy too, because now with your daughter, like, I feel like what do they have now? They don't have shows like Hannah Montana or the Jonas
No.
Brothers, or even growing up watching Barney, iCarly.
Hmm.
Like, what are my kids gonna watch? Like, I just feel like everything's so on TikTok, YouTube,
YouTube.
Netflix. Like,
Yeah.
they don't have shows. This is
Yeah.
so crazy.
No, it is so different. And that's what I'm so thankful. Like, I feel like my generation of kids was the last generation really with no technology. Because even like with my sister, she had this like tiny little weird green phone that had four buttons. It was like mom, dad, sister,
I did too.
emergency. So it's like she grew up still, like you did, having some technology. But
Yeah.
for us, I mean, I'm in high school just like waiting on dial up internet. It's like that. And you probably don't even remember dial up. But now, yes, with TV, I'm like, I remember like Friday nights, I wanted to stay home and watch like Nick at Night and all that and all of these shows where we don't really have that anymore. They're streaming, everything is, yeah, YouTube. I mean, Summer was like, Miss Rachel girly growing up, just when she was a toddler. I mean, she's still a toddler, but now she's kind of grown out of that. So it's like, okay, what's the next phase of things that we watch? And yeah, it is so different.
Yeah, so crazy different. So then you mentioned all of these things in your book and kind of just like talked about growing up and how you led your way to Vanderpump Rules.
Hmm. Yeah,
Everyone got the tea.
I always wanted to be in entertainment. Ever since I was a little kid, I knew I wanted to do acting. I knew I wanted to be on TV. And so it was something I pursued my whole life. My mom didn't allow me to act professionally as a kid. She also worked full time, so it's not like she would be able to take me to auditions and stuff. So I'm like,
Did you
one
grow up in
day,
LA?
just outside of LA, yeah, like
Okay.
30 minutes east. So it was always just like so close yet so far.
Yeah.
And I remember my freshman year of college, I was just like, I don't want to be in school anymore. I'm 18. I just want to drop out, go be famous, live in LA. And no one in my family had gotten their college degree. And my grandma, I remember, was just like, you were going to be the one person, who like got their degree and was kind of disappointed I wanted to quit or drop out. And later that year, she passed away. And I was like, oh, I'm going to get my degree. I'm going to show you. And so I stayed in school. I was already a little behind because I was taking the bare minimum for my scholarships. So then I had to go from 12 units to 19 units, also while working and not really any extracurricular activities. I had to do summer school, but I made up for it. I graduated. I was only 20. I turned 21 the day after. And then I moved out to LA, started working at the cigar lounge, and that's just literally where my Hollywood career dreams, all of that started. I met some of the right people, some of the wrong people who happened to be married, and I did not know that. But working there just kind of set up the trajectory of my life in LA. And it's also
Yeah.
where I met John Mayer. And if it wasn't for him and me getting fired for hooking up with him, I wouldn't have worked at Villa Blanca. Like Vanderpump Rules might not exist.
Wait, that's so crazy. Wait, fill me in on that. So
Yeah.
how did that happen? So was he did he own the cigar lounge?
No, so I didn't know this at the time. He was a member of the New York one. There was one in New York, one in Beverly Hills. And I didn't know that. And honestly, it didn't matter if I did. I wouldn't have cared. I still would have, went home with him. But Originally, I got called in to work a private party. It was a birthday for a high profile celebrity, and they wouldn't tell me who. And they're like, we just need extra hands on deck. You would be perfect for this party. And I'm like, okay, sure. So I go in and I'm like, whose birthday party is it? And they're like, you'll see. And in walks John Mayer, shaved head, tattoos with Jennifer Aniston on his arm.
Oh
And
my
I'm like,
God.
oh my gosh. Like, I mean, I was more excited for her than him.
I mean, yeah, I would have been too.
Literally. So I end up having so much fun with them all night. We're drinking this, like, it was a new Patron that had just come out. It was like Patron Platinum or whatever the new silver expensive tequila was. And I'm like walking her to the bathroom, making sure everything's okay with her, checking on him. Do you need more drinks? They're like, yeah, get another for yourself. I'm like, okay. And then at the end of the night, they're like, do you want to come back with us? And I'm like, is it like an after party? Or we, but then I'm like, well, where do you live? And Jen said she lived in like, not the Palisades or Palos Verdes or whatever. It was not close to Hollywood. And I'm broke, 22 years old. I'm like, there's no Ubers, there's nothing like that. So I'm like, how am I going to get home? Like, I'm going to have to call a taxi. Like, I was just like, the logistics of it. I'm drunk. I'm like, I don't know where this is going, but I'm not going to go there. And I couldn't believe I said no to that opportunity, but I'm like, I don't want to be stranded. Like, I don't know what kind of party this
Well, then
is.
again, it's like you're showing up and it's like, okay, I don't need to be the dumb 22-year-old that is at the party way too long and
Right.
doesn't know how to get home.
No. So I was just like, oh, thanks. Like, I have to stay and close up or whatever. And then I don't know, fast forward 2, 3 weeks later, it wasn't that long after, I guess they broke up. They were very off and on over like a short period of time, but they did break up. He comes back into the cigar lounge, has his friend, assistant manager, whoever, like ask for my number and wanted to hang out that night. I'm not going to say no to that. So I'm like, okay,
No.
confirmed. They're broken up. Like, okay. And he came over and we had some fun. And then it continued casually for, I don't know, maybe 6 months. But I get a call one day from my mother. She's driving my little sister to school, like middle school. She's really young. And yeah, she's probably like 10 years old because I was like 22. So she's driving her to school, listening to Kiss FM. And Ryan Seacrest does like the morning sleaze. And the tea was that Scheana Marie, a cocktail waitress from Beverly Hills, was dating John Mayer. And my mom's like, ah, wait, what? Calls me and she's like, Sheena. I remember this so vividly because I had someone else over the night before. So I'm like trying to answer my phone, but not have this dude hear about this dude. And I'm like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. So I'm like, hi, you gotta go. Like, I have to deal with this crisis. Then my boss is calling me and they're like, Sheena, what are we supposed to do? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I'm nothing. I was not the person who put this story out there. We've been hanging out for like 6 months. I want to continue hanging out with him. So I didn't say anything to like any tabloids or anything. However,
Well, he
several
also
times,
wasn't associated with the Beverly Hills cigar bar.
well, I didn't know he was even associated with the New York one. I just knew he was a celebrity who came in.
Of
And
course.
also, several times that we hung out, there were other friends there. There were girlfriends who were there hanging out. There was one night where a couple of our guy friends were there. So there were a lot of other people around us. One of those people decided to tell our boss, and it was because she had dated a member previously and gotten fired. So when she heard I was hanging out with him, she calls in and was like, oh, so you're going to fire me, but not fire her? And I'm like, why would I get fired? Like, he's famous, sure, but like, he's not a member. I checked the log. His name is not on there. But I guess he was a member of the New York Lounge. And so the
I
owner
feel like
calls me in.
there could be an argument there.
Right, I know. But the owner was just like, this woman was threatening like a discrimination lawsuit if she got
Oh my
fired and I
gosh.
didn't. And it was becoming a whole thing. I go, it's fine. I'll bow out. Like I need a job, but I don't want you to get into any legal trouble. You guys have been amazing to me. Just can you help me with like a good recommendation? And the owner was so incredible. took care of my bills for the month, was like, let me just give you like a
Oh my
severance.
God.
Like surfers don't get severance, it's not like I
No,
have benefits or
never. That's
anything.
like a really nice boss.
Yeah, but he just like it was my birthday the next week, and so it was kind of just like a birthday parting gift, was like, I don't want you to stress. Whenever, you need a recommendation, I'll get you, the best recommendation there is. And so I called my friend and I was like, "Hey, didn't you just start bartending in Beverly Hills?" And he was like, "Oh yeah, it's called Villa Blanca, opened yesterday. The owners are here. You should come by." So I go over, I meet Ken, and he's like, "Well, you're not very cute and you don't have much personality." And I'm like, well, that's kind of rude. But then I soon realized, oh, that's his British dry sense of humor. He thinks I'm pretty and I am like cute with a personality.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Can you start tonight?" And I was like, "Well, shoot," because I just called in another favor to a friend who worked in bottle service. And they're like, "You can start at the club tonight." And I'm like, "What do I do?" And I was like, "Is there any chance I could start tomorrow?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure." And so then the next day, I work a lunch shift. They asked me to stay for a double. I work the dinner shift, completely up Ken's order, think I'm going to get fired. But they liked me, they kept me around. And fast forward a couple years later, we have a TV show.
So you were working there for quite some time before Vanderpump Rules started.
Yeah, even before Real Housewives of Beverly Hills started. Like at
Wow.
least a
So
year,
you
I
kind of like
think.
saw Lisa's entire career. Not obviously,
Yeah.
she's always been a businesswoman, but career and reality TV star.
Yeah. And I remember thinking that she was just going to turn into this monster when we started, like when she started filming and was going to be like, "I need this, I need this, I need that." And so we're all like scared shitless when cameras pick up and they're in the restaurant. We're like, "Oh my God, oh my God." It was the total opposite. It was just like we saw a softer side of her. She was getting to know us better. She was learning like everyone's names. It wasn't so much just about the business, it was more about her personal life, the staff, and all of that. And so then it turned into, Vanderpump Rules a few
Yeah.
years
Well,
later.
because I mean, as Vanderpump Rules, it really, as much as yes, they showed Lisa on the business side and talking to her partners or whatever it was mainly about your guys' life.
It was. Yeah. I mean, yes, she started it. It is her show, it
Of
is her
course.
name.
She's the
She is the
boss, of
boss.
course.
Exactly. She's an executive producer. But, I don't think her storyline got us two Emmy nominations. I'll say that. That's not
Yeah.
being shady. That's just a fact.
No, I mean, and I completely agree with you though, because they really did follow you and your friends' lives.
Hmm.
And it really was the whole thing for how many seasons? It was,
11 and now, 12 with new kids.
yeah, I know. How do you feel about that? Do you feel like it's going to be the same?
It's not going to be the same. I think they're going to try and do what Southern Hospitality is doing actually really well. And now, we have Next Gen NYC. So it's like, I get it. They are going in a younger demographic with some shows. I think if they were going to do this, it was the perfect time. Going off the height of Scandoval, you have all of these new Gen Z viewers, and the show is bigger than it ever was. So I understood why they did it. I think that the group was so fractured, there was really nowhere to go with this story. It would have to be a show filmed about what Katie and Ariana are doing, what Scheana and Lala are doing, what Tom and Tom are doing, and then James if he wasn't canceled. So it's like all of that, it just cohesively wasn't working anymore. We're not
I
going on
mean,
group trips. It's not going
well,
to make
yeah. And at
sense.
the end of the day, you guys weren't working in the restaurant. You all
No.
are beyond that at this point.
Yeah.
So, yes, Tom and Tom have their bar in LA. Yes, Ariana and oh my God, why did I just blank?
Katie, it's
Yes,
okay.
Ariana
Forgettable.
and Ariana. Stop it. I don't okay. Don't get me
You're
mixed
like,
up
what's
in
that
this.
other girl?
So,
It's
but
okay. Leave it
Ariana
in.
and Katie, they do have their sandwich shop. I mean, Ariana is the host of Love Island,
Yeah.
one of the most trending shows in the US. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, everyone talks about it. Like for you guys to be on this show as kind of still restaurant servers,
Mm-hmm.
you guys are beyond that. You
No,
really
it just,
are.
yeah, it didn't make sense anymore. I worked there for seasons. And after season 5, I was like, look, I'm so happy to show up and pick up shifts and help, but I don't feel right being in a pool tip with all of the other servers who are working their asses off while I'm just like taking photos and chit chatting. So I'm like, please take me off the schedule. I'm happy to still come in on my own accord, on my own schedule. Whenever I need to film in the restaurant, I will. But
Of
it
course.
became more of me just coming in, clocking in for my hourly and just helping run drinks, helping run food. I'm like, I don't
Well,
need to be in
because
the
it
tip pool.
became such an empire, I feel that then obviously, like, Sir is quite literally an LA attraction at this point. People
Yeah.
go to LA, want to go to Sir, want to see you guys. So it got to a point I felt like when the show was so high that when you guys were in there, you really were just drawing attention to the restaurant. And that's why,
Yeah.
I mean, they're all over at this point, which is crazy.
Yeah, and it was so hard to like actually do the job while filming, while taking photos. And so I think they kind of saw like, okay, we do have to kind of shift for the next couple seasons. And they had us, coming in more on call when we needed to than being scheduled 4 or 5 days a week. I mean, we didn't
Yeah.
need to work that much anymore, but it was tough the last few seasons because it's like, okay, well, now none of them work here at all. So do we host events here? Like, how do we keep it around the restaurant? And it's like, it doesn't need to be based around the restaurant. It needs to be based around Lisa and all of us, whether we're her staff or we're her friends, we're still in each other's lives. So can we pivot to that? And then it was like, no, we're going to take it back to the restaurant. I'm like, okay, good. So
Yeah.
now we can, do other things. And I'm really excited for the new cast for most of them. There's one guy who I know was saying some about me on a podcast, and I'm like, I've never
No
even met you.
way.
Like,
Wait,
what?
also the disrespect.
Yeah.
Like
I know.
he's
I'm like, at least the girls know who paved the way for them. And
yeah,
one of
no,
them,
that's
she's
what I'm
like,
saying. You guys fully paved the way and they're not like they're not replacing you guys. It's
no.
just that this is what Bravo is doing right now. And
Yeah.
it's very obvious they do want a younger demographic, younger shows, younger people to come in. And
Mhm.
that's totally fine. As much as they do also have still their Real Housewives and the Valleys and everything like that.
Yeah.
But they want to keep those shows to that age demographic and then bring in people for the younger shows, which
Exactly.
is totally okay. And basically, it was your timeline was up on Vanderpump. Like you
Hmm.
guys have established yourselves, and now you guys should be grateful that you're now getting this opportunity on
Right.
Vanderpump to now build yourself.
Yeah. So when I heard him say some shit about me, I was like, excuse me, sir. Like, you don't even know me. You're welcome for this opportunity.
Yeah, no, for
But
real.
a couple of the girls one of them I've been friends with for gosh, probably like 8 years. I was trying to get her on the show since like season 6 or 7 because we're legitimately friends.
Oh,
She
wow.
legitimately works at the restaurant, but I was the only one who was really friends with her. So I'm really excited that now she gets her own opportunity. She's not just Sheena's friend or another server. Like she
Yeah.
is a star of the show.
Yeah.
And one of her best friends I met a little over a year ago, and we've become friends. And she's the Scheana, she says, of the season. And I was like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. And she's like, no, it's a compliment. Oh my God. And I'm like, thank you.
No, I love that. Is there anything that you wish that you added into your memoir, or basically maybe something that didn't make it at the final cut that you wish was in it?
There, just being on book tour and having certain questions asked, there were a couple things that came up in like a game or whatever. And I'm like, oh, I forgot about that. I could have talked about that. And then just after reading the book so many times, reading the audiobook, I'm sitting in the booth reading the audiobook and I'm like, can I just add a couple extra sentences here for the
Yeah.
audiobook, even though it's not in the written book? So there were some things where I'm like, I should have added more detail here or whatever. But, I can always write another book. And that's the beauty of doing podcasts is we
A
can.
100%. You can speak your mind.
Exactly.
Have any of your former Vanderpump Rule cast members reached out and congratulated you on your memoir?
Mm,
Lala.
Lala, well, yes. I mean, she's still very much in my almost everyday life. The girls go to school together, they're
Oh,
best
that's so
friends.
sweet.
I know she had like spoken about it on her podcast and of course congratulated me. She reached out over book tour and just said, I just feel the need to tell you that I'm just so happy for you. And Schwartz for sure. I don't know if he posted or it was a call, whatever, but he was very supportive. Um, Kristen, I know she bought a copy of it. I also sent her like the same PR box that I sent you and your mom. But a lot of people didn't end up posting that, and I'm like, confirmed it was delivered. So
Wait, really? That's so rude.
yeah, so there were I sent a box to pretty much every current Valley cast member,
And I'm
almost
sure all
every.
of your people on Vanderpump.
Yeah, I sent it to everyone except I didn't send one to Katie. I haven't talked to her for a year. I saw her in the comment section recently, and I'm just like, why am I going to send one to you? And I didn't send one to Sandoval. But everyone else, yeah, I sent it to, and I got a ton of support for sure, but I didn't get as much as I thought I would from former yeah, former cast members.
I feel like at least just the respect level. It's an Instagram story. It
Yeah,
takes 2 seconds,
two
and
seconds.
it just also shows your followers like we are all in the Bravo world
Hmm.
together. So you're obviously just supporting everybody, and you want everyone to obviously make it. Like everyone's trying to make it here. Everyone's trying to work, hustle, bring in income for themselves, for their families, like, and also tell their story. It's not
Yeah,
easy, the life that, we have and the stories that we are open to telling our fans and basically putting our lives fully out in the open for people to judge,
yeah.
scrutinize, and paint their own pictures. But this is why you wrote your memoir, to try to paint yours. And
Yes, exactly. Couldn't have said it better myself.
where did I leave off on Vanderpump? I think it was when you were obviously torn
Hmm.
because the whole scandal was going on with him and Ariana.
Hmm.
And valid. Again, you guys grew a family over
Hmm.
all of these years filming on Vanderpump.
Yeah.
So you were kind of in a tough situation. Like, I want to still be friends with both of them, but now you don't talk to him at all.
I don't really talk to either of them, if I'm being honest. There will be an occasional text, one way or the other, from me to Ariana, maybe a happy birthday from Ariana to me. But there's not a lot of communication with either of them. I think the last time I talked to Tom, it was like, congrats on America's Got Talent. Before that, it was like, hey, Scheana, congrats on Masked Singer. So it's very surface level. But I know since the book, not hearing from certain people, I'm like, okay, so this is where we stand, noted. And you know what? I'm thankful because I knew putting out this book, everyone wasn't going to be happy with me. But I don't care because I'm telling my story, my truth as best as I can. And I knew once the book came out, once the book was sent out, I would see who my real friends are. I would see everyone's true colors, who supported the book publicly, who supported the book privately. Because honestly, either way didn't matter, but the public support, of course, like that shows people, like you said, that we are a group of friends. So I do wish I had more in that sense from certain cast members, female cast members, but seeing that I didn't, I'm just like, okay, you know what? That's fine. I now know where we stand and I'm at peace with that. I'm very happy with where my life is at, where my friendships are at. And I'm 40 years old now. Like I
I
don't have
mean,
time for bull.
well, yeah. I mean, at this point, you're not going to beg for friendships. The friendships that are there and the people that are around you and that are there for you and that are in your inner circle, that's all you really need at this point. You're not going to reach out to somebody who is not doing the same thing to you. I feel
Exactly.
the same way, and I'm 24. I'm like, I don't
Hmm.
need this around me, honestly.
No, exactly. I wish I figured that out 16 years ago, before season one. That would have been beneficial. But,
Oh.
live and learn. And that's the thing. I'm always trying to be a better version of myself. I'm constantly trying to grow and evolve. And that's life. Sure, I've messed up a million times, but that's how we learn. That's how we grow. And people just want to like hang on to these things that I did almost 20 years ago. Like I met a married man 19 years ago at a bar. I just like I didn't know he was married. There's no ring. There's barely internet. There was no internet on my phone. Like it just it wasn't a thing that I knew I was doing wrong. I was not complicit in this affair. I met a hot guy who said he was an actor. Welcome to LA.
Yeah. Real. I mean, and you were in your 20s. I mean,
Literally.
if anything, maybe the older married man should be penalized for
Right. But
this.
I'm the home wrecking whore. I'm like, I'm not even the one still married to him. He
Yeah.
cheated multiple times. Like, why are we holding on to the 21-year-old girl who just graduated college and met a
Yeah.
cute guy? Like, come on.
Yeah. We did a check off the bucket list,
Hmm.
honestly. Your memoir goes far beyond the headlines. You open up about friendship betrayals, divorce, cheating, miscarriages, and so much personal loss in a way that we've never really seen before from you.
Hmm.
So, if you don't mind, like let's start with the cheating. Can you like take us back to that moment when you first learned that Brock was cheating on you?
Well, ironically, I was sitting down to watch an episode of Real Housewives of New Jersey with him.
Were you really?
Swear to God.
Oh my
Um,
God.
it was Easter, and we had just gotten home from a great day with my family, put Summer down, and we sit down on the couch to watch our weekly Housewives get our Jersey fix. And right before I hit play, he was like, "Hold on, I need to talk to you about something." And I'm just like, okay. And he looked serious, but then also I'm like, as he starts saying the words to me, I'm like, what kind of f***ed up joke is this? Like, this isn't funny. And I'm so confused because I'm just like, is there a hidden camera? Like, I don't get what you're trying to do here. But then I definitely saw it in his eyes and I knew he was telling me the truth. And I just froze. Like, I was in shock. I was pissed. I was devastated. I didn't know what to do. So, I slapped him
Did
across his face.
as you should.
You
Yeah,
know,
I
that was
don't blame
deserved.
you.
Then I got up. I went up. We had like a little loft, like not really a loft, but we had our living room and then like five stairs to go up to like the dining kitchen area. And I go up those stairs and I'm just like pacing. I'm just like, I need to get this rage out somehow. Like, I
Yeah.
don't, I'm not going to go beat the shit out of my husband. Like, I already slapped him across his face, but I'm like, what can I throw at him? And I see one of Summer's Rubik's Cubes. So I get the Rubik's Cube. I chuck it at him. He dodges it. It goes into the glass sliding door. Thank God nothing broke other than the Rubik's Cube.
Thank God.
But I
He
was
would have
like, oh
been like, I'd rather replace the Rubik's Cube than my sliding
literally.
door right
So I
now.
was just like, after that, I was like, okay, Scheana, you've gotten that aggression out, but I'm like, I need to do something. I'm like, I'm calling your sister. And I'm like, what time is it in Australia? Okay, it's daytime. And so I call her, she's not answering. I'm like, hi, emergency. I need you to call me. They're celebrating Easter with their whole family. And so I was just like, please, can you step outside like really quick? It is an emergency, but I need you to just keep calm on your face right now. Like, don't alert the entire family that something's up. So I talked to her. She gets on the phone with him. Obviously, I made him sleep in the guest room for that week. But then, fast forward 4 days later, we have Coachella. I have tens of thousands of dollars of contracted brand deals. I can't just pull out of Coachella because I mean, it's a lot of money, A. B, what am I going to tell my friends? Why am I not coming? Why am I not doing these jobs? Then I'm just lying. And I'm like, we have to go to Coachella. So
I
we
mean, work
went,
is work at the end of the day. If you
you
had money on
know,
the line, obviously you're going to go and take the money. There's no question asked.
yeah. And so, I mean, it was a very difficult time because
Were
I
you completely blindsided? Like, did you feel any shift in
completely
your relationship before?
completely blindsided. There were no signs really of anything ever happening like shady or anything like that. I was never like, oh, well, there was that one time where he didn't come. Like there was nothing like that. So
Yeah.
it was a complete and total blindside. And I was like, I don't know what to do. Him and my mom were not getting along great at the time. The next morning immediately called he's now my manager, but then he was still my publicist. And I was like, look, I need you to be on high alert. Like, this happened. There were all of these false blind items coming out about him that he told me because he thought, well, what if that girl sees, all of these things and is like, oh, well, you know what, maybe I'll put my story out there now that there's like all of these other ones. Because for all anyone else would
I mean,
know, he
yeah.
did sleep with Raquel. He did sleep with this other girl. He did do that. Like, no one knew that truth when there are blind items out there. Most people didn't believe it, but after what Raquel did with Sandoval, it made everyone question it. It made me question it. And I'm like, I go, now that you're telling me this, was there ever anything with Raquel? And he's like, I swear, I swear. And I'm like, okay, I believe you, but I would be an idiot not to ask. And then I'm like, what about this? Like, because there was another blind item. Some girl from San Diego said this, that, and the other. And he's like, that did not happen. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm just going to tell myself that that probably did happen. And it was in the first 6 weeks of our relationship. We were not exclusive or whatever. Like, I can get
Yeah.
over that.
I
But
know. I feel like it's so hard in the beginning, especially in public relationships, because people can come out and say false things.
mhm,
And you do turn a blind eye to at least some things because you're like, okay, probably. Or, you go into a spiral and then you're DMing back these random people asking, oh, is this true? Do you have
right.
proof? And then
Yeah,
at the end of the day, like we would look like the idiots for even
exactly.
DMing these people back
I
rather
know.
than being like, okay, I need to have trust. But then when he actually came to you about this, you're like, okay, it's not a random DM. Like, this is now my husband coming to me.
Yeah. So, I mean, as much as the blind items forced his hand to tell me, I mean, I don't even know if I want to say I'm glad he told me because it was better when I didn't know because now it's just ruined my trust and stuff, I don't, forever. Yeah. I mean, that sounds dramatic, but I don't think that after that, I can never fully trust 100%. There's always going to be the voice in the back of my mind, like, but what if? But what if? Like
Of course.
I have that. Like, have you seen K-pop Demon Hunters?
No.
Oh my God. Okay. No, so I was trying
I'm
to
watching The
explain.
Summer I Turned Pretty right now. You should
Oh,
watch it.
nice. Yeah. So I know I want to watch that. It's on my
No,
list. But
so good. I'm binging.
I was explaining it to like another adult yesterday who doesn't have a kid, and I'm like, there's this like underlying message in it. I'm like, when I'm watching it with Summer, I was just like, what is this? But then I'm like, oh, it's just about different like temptation and like the bad intrusive thoughts that you think about yourself and all of these things where it's like when I watched this kids movie about hunting demons, I'm like, no, but those are demons that we have inside. You hear that voice inside of your head, and it's like, well, he might do it again, or if you guys don't have sex enough, he's going to have sex somewhere else. And like all of these things that
I
I
know.
think will forever be in the back of my mind. But all I can do is
And it's like
continue.
don't put yourself down like that because
Yeah.
if they're gonna do it, they're gonna do
There,
it.
and that's the thing. I actually, I've had conversations now with so many people about this, but I was talking to Captain Jason, and I'm like, and he knows Brock well as well, and just being from down under, and they're raised differently there. They breed different. And I was talking to him about this, and I'm just like, how am I ever gonna trust again? Like, what if he does this again? And he was like, let him. If he's gonna do that, you can't control. And I was like, and that's that whole thing. It's the let them theory. That was one of the books on the
100%.
New York Times bestsellers list with me. And
It's
I'm like,
incredible. Yeah.
that just him saying that, and just that is a book I want to read also. That put it in a new perspective for me where I'm like, I cannot fully control him. All I can do is trust as best if I can. And, you know, let him do him. And if he were to betray me again, then I'm out for good. And he knows that. And I genuinely don't think he would. But it has helped my OCD a bit, just kind of let a little loose where it's like, you know what? I'm just going to let him do him and trust that he is now going to make the best decisions for our family.
No,
But it's been tough,
100%.
you
I
know?
mean, I'm sure no matter what, I mean, I think it's also just for a girl and a girl mentality. We overthink. We're overthinkers.
Hmm.
Especially in a relationship when you're not feeling 100% secure, that's probably the worst feeling. And
Yeah.
just to have these thoughts continuously going on in your brain, as much as he's going to try to prove to you and win your trust back, you're always going to have that in the back
Hmm.
of your head. And that's what's just so unfortunate.
And that's where I didn't know, like, am I going to be able to stay or am I going to walk away and have split custody and start a new life? Like, I went back and forth with it all night when he told me. And I'm like, I don't want to tell my mom. I don't want to tell my best friend. I don't want to tell my producer. I don't want to tell anyone, A, because I don't want it to be true. But B, I need to make a decision of what I'm going to do for myself with zero outside opinion. I have his sister to talk to if I need someone to talk to, and I have my manager, publicist. But then I thought about it and I'm like, okay, so I've got one person on payroll and one person who's his family. I need one person, just a friend who I know I can trust. And so the next week after he told me, we left Coachella on day 3. I couldn't do another day, and I had to do Watch What Happens Live the next week. They asked Brock if he would do it with me. I was like, no, 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 I'm not trying to fake this. Like,
Yeah.
there's no way. So I just told Bravo, I said, and which was also true. I said, we just left our daughter for Coachella. We can't leave her again to go to New York. One of us needs to be here for her for consistency in her schedule. I said, so I appreciate the opportunity, but I'm just going to come by myself.
Yeah.
Ended up having Michael Rappaport as the guest. It was a blast. But when I went to New York, I sat down with my best friend Nima, who was on Shaws of Sunset back in the day. But he is just like my person who I trust with my life. And I knew that that would be a safe space for me, someone who's not going to judge me, who's not even necessarily going to give me advice of, well, I think this or I think that. It was just, you're going to make the best decision for your family. And I fully support whatever that is. Just let me know how I can be here to help support you. And so for a year, I didn't tell anyone else about it because I didn't want it to be true. I didn't still know, like, am I going to be able to stay in this forever? But I knew that for our daughter, I owed it to her to give it our best shot. And I wasn't going to let a mistake he made a couple years prior ruin everything we have built since. So it was not an easy decision, but I just knew that I had to give it a shot. I couldn't do what 20-something-year-old Scheana would do, where I'm just like, oh, you cheated. Okay, I'm out. Like, I'm done. I'm like, there's so much more at stake here.
Well,
And
you had your daughter.
yeah, and he has proven to be such an amazing father, such an amazing partner to me since this. And so, we work on ourselves every day. We did couples therapy, I did EMDR therapy, and I wrote a book and just got it all out. It was very
Yeah.
cathartic, and I
And
didn't
did
know
you
if we
choose to put it, what was your like decision making into choosing to put it into your book rather than airing it on Bravo?
Yeah, so that's what I was gonna say. I didn't know if we were ever gonna tell that story or if it was gonna just be taken to the grave.
Yeah.
But I knew that when season 11 came around, it was so fresh for me that I was not ready to discuss it, to tell everyone about it. I had so much hatred for him. I had so much hatred for Tom Sandoval. So I just took it all out on Tom. I just projected everything onto him that was not completely misdirected. He did deserve some of it, absolutely. But I projected it all onto him because I just felt like I was in survival mode that season. I was trying to keep my head above water. I was never trying to be a bad friend to Ariana, to be disloyal, it was just, I'm drowning literally. Like, I was dying inside every day and I had so much rage and so much anger. And when people go back now and watch season 11, and there's a scene where
After
we're in like
after reading your
after
book.
reading it, and it's like there's a scene where we're in a bathing suit store and we like get in a huge fight, and there were just so many things where I'm like, it wasn't about the bathing suit, it wasn't about the this, it was just like my ways of trying to get some of that aggression out. But I know for a fact if I talked about it season 11, our marriage would not have survived. We were so rocky at that time. It would have been so bad. Everyone, the whole world would have turned on him. Everyone would have hated him. And then everyone would have said, how dare you, Scheana, for trying to make a cheating storyline about yourself? That's Ariana's. And it was like, it was a lose lose for me. So
Yeah.
I just stuck my tail between my legs and I did the best I could. And then as I'm working towards trying to figure out if I can forgive my husband, how can I work towards letting this go and forgiving him, but still hating Tom Sandoval and not forgiving him when he's saying that he's suicidal right now?
You were
This,
dealing with so many emotions. Oh
it
my
was
God.
so much. And I've lost people to suicide before. And Tom had an affair, and that is not okay. I don't agree with any of that whatsoever, but it also didn't merit the death penalty. This was someone who was an amazing friend to me for almost 15 years. So because he did what Brock did, it was just like
Well,
so much.
as much as you were yelling at Tom because of Ariana, you were also picturing, like, you were basically putting Brock's face on Tom's
Yeah,
face because you were like,
absolutely.
this is the same scenario, and I'm projecting my feelings to how I'm projecting it to my husband right now.
Yeah. And the hatred I had towards my husband at that time, it made me have more hatred towards Tom Sandoval because I'm like, all of you men are the same. You're all cheaters. It was like, I just had so much rage that I, I didn't know how to get it out. So I took it all out on him. But after the season wrapped, it was like, okay, gotta reel it in. I gotta figure out, like, can we stay together?
Yeah,
Like,
like I need to learn how
so
to control this.
yeah, so we started couples therapy. I went and did EMDR therapy. We saw a psychiatrist. We went and got brain scans. I mean, we did like everything to be like, how can we get our health, our mental health, everything the best as possible? And that's why I didn't want to tell anyone about it because I wanted to do all of the work first and see if I could work towards forgiving him. And I remember the day I told him, I forgive you. And it was just such a huge moment for us because I'm like, now I'm not going to hold this over you anymore. Now I am choosing to stay, and I hope it's forever. I still don't know. I don't know if these demons are going to be too much one day that I'm just like, I can't do this anymore because I can't ever trust you completely. But he has proven to me for the last 2.5 years since I found out that he's in it for the long run, and he's incredible. He's literally outside building us a dining room table right now. Like he's doing everything for this family, and I'm just so grateful for him and grateful that I was able to work towards a path of forgiveness because sometimes I think like, oh, well, it's just easier to leave and be done with it. Like that's easy. It's not easy. You have your
No, yeah,
lives
I think that's
intertwined. It's
actually
just
the
like,
hardest thing
you
to do
know?
is I think the hardest thing to do is leave.
Yeah. And then I'm like, or is it harder to stay and then just deal with the mistrust and all of that? Or is it easier to stay and just be like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, well,
I
we
think
don't have to
again it's
split
a
custody. And
double-edged sword. I
yeah.
mean,
So I'm like, you know what? Neither decision was an easy one. Both decisions would take extreme strength. It would take strength to walk away, and it takes a lot of strength to stay. But I owed it to our daughter and to the years that we had put into our relationship to at least try. And I'm so, so thankful that I did because things have never been better with us. And I hope they just continue to grow and stay strong.
no, for sure. And I mean, eventually once your daughter gets a little older, are you going to tell her yourself rather than her obviously looking it up or maybe finding it in a book?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things we're gonna have to tell her.
Yeah.
She has two older
I,
siblings in
yeah.
Australia. That's
Oh, wow.
the thing
Yes.
that keeps us up at night. That I worry about more than being like, daddy stepped out on mommy and he made a mistake. Like, I feel like that's not as big of a deal to tell her as you have actual blood relatives on,
Has
another
has she never
continent.
met them?
No, they're unfortunate. Like we get photos, we get updates, but at this point, the kids are both almost teenagers and it's going to be up to them. So I do hope eventually that we'll be able to have a relationship with them, but for now, we'll get the photos. He'll continue paying child support and hopefully one day, but that's a conversation that I'm just like, how am I going to explain this to her? When, at what age is a kid emotionally mature enough to take that in? Like
Yeah.
I don't know. We've got to have a lot of conversations eventually, but We have some time. She's thankfully only 4, so
I know. I'm like, maybe when she's going through like the birds and the bees or something
right.
like
Yeah,
that.
by the
Like,
way.
don't
Yeah.
screw around.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
oh my goodness. I know that's a lot. That's definitely
Yeah.
a lot. And I feel like, parenting is so hard. And my mom talks about it all the time. Like, she's like, you go through a different obstacle every day and which way to turn every single day. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I can only imagine.
God bless your mom. 4 girls. Like, I mean, I have one and I'm like, I don't even know if I could have another. Like, how I'm like, she's a saint. I love your
For
mom.
real, a saint. I mean, I think out of all of us, though, it's been really good. The only one, and she will say this every day, has that still gives her a run for her money is my sister Melania.
Oh, yeah.
Like, fully gives her a run for her
Yep.
money. The rest of us, like, she was like, I did everything the same. Like,
Yeah.
you all came out the same way. I don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, my sister and I are polar opposites. Same parents, raised the same way, 12 years apart. So there is that generational gap, literally.
Yeah.
We're just so different.
So different. It's
Yeah.
actually insane. So you are really close with Lala. What was Lala's response to all of this? And then did Ariana ever reach out to you, considering that the timelines kind of lined up?
No, I've not heard from her at all. I texted her last week. It was the anniversary of her father's passing, and I was
That was really
literally
nice of you.
with her the night she got that phone call. I'll never forget that day. And I'm like, no matter what place we are in life or in our friendships, I'm always going to wish her a happy birthday and I'm always going to send her love on that day. But it was just, sending you love and thinking of you and a thank you, heart, heart, heart. And so that's all we've said to each other since happy birthday, thank you, heart, heart, heart. Like that's literally our conversation. So, I mean, it sucks, like I miss her. She was my best friend, but I understand that, she was going through devastation and she felt betrayed by me because I'm trying to be friends, quote unquote, with Tom still. And I'm like, no, I'm trying to do my job and I'm trying to work towards a path of forgiveness towards my husband. And I can't release one without releasing both.
And now obviously she knows that, right?
I mean, I would assume through the grapevine,
Yeah.
she's absolutely heard everything that I've been through. And so, not hearing from her, I'm just like, okay, so that is where we stand. Unfortunately, it's far apart from each other, but I know, will always have such a deep love for each other. And friendships ebb and flow. Maybe one day it flows back together, but for now, I love seeing all of her success. I wish her nothing but the best. And I'm so grateful that she was able to take a devastating time in her life and turn it into this empire because she deserves it. She's one of the most talented people I know. And I'm just really happy for her. But I do hope that she understands that as much as she felt hurt or betrayed by me, I was literally drowning. And I needed someone to throw me a life vest, and no one was because no one knew. It's no one's
Yeah.
fault. I kept it to myself. But now it's like, hi, it's out there.
Yeah. Looking for a little reassurance over here.
Yeah.
Did Lala obviously give you her respect and
So Lala only found out about it a few months ago.
oh wow.
I
Did
didn't
you
really
tell her
tell.
before the book or no?
Yeah, it was
Oh,
a couple months before when I found out there was going to be an excerpt coming out and that this is how they release books. They do a couple excerpts. And
yeah.
when you send out galleys, you send them to influencers, to publishers or whatever, because you want people to start reviewing the book before it comes out. We originally sent it out minus that chapter because I didn't want it to leak. But then it's like we have to send the actual physical books out to everyone. So the chance of that leaking from a podcaster, a blogger, or whatever, I'm like, I see that we do have to put an excerpt out ourselves because we have to get ahead of it.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm gonna have some conversations now. And Lala was one of those. I I told her, she immediately was just like, I'm so mad at him for you. But I'm like, it's been a couple years. We have chosen to work through it. And I'm just, out of respect for our friendship, giving you a heads up that this is going to come out soon. And yeah, I just kind of left it at that.
And I mean, you also didn't have to do that. So that was
No.
also,
And I
really
forgot to
big
do
of
that
you.
with some friends. And like I had Allie text me the day it came out, and I was like, I am so sad. She's like, no, no, you don't owe it to me. I'm like, Allie, you're one of my closest friends. I'm like, there was a night that her and I were here at my house, just the two of us, until like 1 a.m. And I wanted to tell her so bad, but we were talking about everything she was going through post James and just dating an addict, being married to someone who's an alcoholic. And I just like things like that, that I was relating to my first marriage and relationship that I had on the show. And we were just talking about comparisons and this and that when you're with someone who either is an alcoholic or has an addictive
Yeah,
personality or is addicted to drugs. And it just wasn't the right time to be like, oh, and by the way, now in this marriage, it just,
I
I'm like, that
know.
was the night I wanted to tell you. But she's like, I'm so grateful that you didn't in that moment. She's like, because everything you were saying to me, she's like, that was resonating with what I was going through. And so she's like, I'm glad that we had that conversation because that was more important for the time.
No, for sure. I mean, especially when you're in those moments though, and you just feel so close and connected with the person, you just want to spill it all.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, like it's
Yeah.
hard. I've been there probably one too many times and I probably shouldn't have opened my mouth on things.
Yeah.
But you just like get reeled in. And I mean, she is amazing. She's so sweet. She also came on the podcast and she was
Yeah.
talking about everything and she has such a positive outlook on everything now too. And I'm like,
Yeah.
God bless. Like, that is amazing.
Definitely.
You were a friend of on this season of The Valley. What was it like filming on The Valley versus Vanderpump Rules?
It honestly felt easier. I felt the most myself I've felt in a really long time. But I think that that's because the drama wasn't around me. It wasn't my story. I just got to be a part of everyone else's. So I had fun with it. We were still thinking we had a season 12. So they're not going to waste my story on the Valley when it's going to be on season 12. And that's also
100%.
when I thought enough time had passed that I'm like, okay, when season 12 rolls around, we're going to open up about what Brock did, talk about the infidelity, because with writing my book, season 12, if we were on the normal timeline, would have filmed and aired before the book came out. So I'm
Well, that
like,
that would have been
if we're going to
amazing
talk
too.
about it on the show, then I have to put it in the book because the timeline. And so going back and forth, it was a tough decision to put it in the book or not. But, and then, the show gets rebooted. And so we're like, well, we're not telling it on season 12. But knowing that there was another person involved in our relationship, unfortunately, who could come out at any point in time and say it. I said, I don't want to be looking over my shoulder for the rest of my life, wondering every phone call I get from my publicist, is this the moment where they're like, hey, so there's an exclusive dropping and this girl's going to do a tell all? So I'm like, there were so many reasons why we needed to put it in the book. But it just felt like my story would be incomplete if I wrote a memoir and didn't talk about one of the biggest, most devastating things I went through in my life and how I came out on the other side.
Have you met Brittany Cartwright's new boyfriend?
See, I don't know what all has been out there publicly yet. I don't know what she has said. So I know it gets me in trouble when I comment on my friends' stuff before things are out there about them. So all I will say is this. I said this on a radio show yesterday. I am extremely happy for where Brittany is in her life right now.
I actually met her on Special Forces.
Oh yeah, that's right. You did that
She
together.
was like a bundle of joy.
Oh, I love her so much. But I will say that the position she's in life right now, she deserves it. She's extremely happy. And I was over at her house the other day hanging out, and she's got her sparkle back. I saw it in her eyes, and it just
Aw,
makes me so happy.
I love that.
Fully support.
I know you're also very close with Michelle. How do you think her and Jesse's relationship played out this season?
Ugh, that one's so tough because it's so toxic. And again, I don't want to say too much about him because he's like, she's just trying to get a storyline for the Valley. And I'm like, what's your storyline? First of all, like you're welcome that I even kept you relevant. But Michelle is my girl. I will ride or die for her. And I see everything that she's been through. I see the type of person he is, but you know what? He's very smart and he can be very charming. So there's that, but I see through it and I've seen the real him.
If you were asked to be a full-time cast member on The Valley, would you do it?
If it makes sense.
So, so Scheana, this was such an amazing episode, and thank you so much for coming on Casual Chaos. Again, congratulations on sharing your story so openly on your memoir, My Good Side. And it's so powerful and inspiring. So, where's the best place for people to find it?
Thank you. Everything to follow me is just at Scheana, Scheana. And for my book, you can go to mygoodsidebook.com. And the audiobook, also New York Times bestseller, that I feel like I'm even more proud of because I thought about this last night as I was reading my daughter a book. I've always been, this is one thing I will give myself. I've always been so good at reading out loud. I was the kid in class who always wanted to raise
Yeah.
her hand and read out loud. So the fact that my reading aloud made the New York Times bestsellers list on top of my writing.
That's amazing because also people could be so critical of your voice. So the fact that everyone enjoyed it and finds it soothing, like
Yeah.
that's a big plus.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have to get you on shenanigans too.
Yes, definitely. I would love that. And that is your
Yeah.
podcast. So you could
hmm
also find her on Shenanigans. That is her
Every
podcast.
Friday. All right. Well, thank you, babe. I have to get to a meeting.
Are you going to BravoCon? I
I
wanted to ask you
am.
that. Oh, okay,
I'll
good.
be
So I'll
there.
see you in November.
Yeah, I'll see you then.
Okay.
All
All right.
right.
Bye, babe.
Bye.